Hello everyone. We will start very shortly the webinar. In the meanwhile, you can feel free and answer the poll on where you joining from, or ask any question you might have in the Q&A section. For those of you that don't know me yet, my name is Roy, and I'm the partnership program manager. And we will start very shortly. So again, thanks for joining. And if you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. Amazing, great. So we are right on time. We have more partners joining us meanwhile. So we will allow a couple more minutes for everyone to join. I see that we have a majority coming from the United States, also 8 people from United Kingdom. This is amazing to see. And hello also to Dor. Great. So guys, we'll wait 2 more minutes until everyone joins, and then I will introduce you to Rotem, which he is our main speaker for today, the Global Partners Activation Manager here on behalf of Monday.com. Of course, that he will introduce himself later on. And yeah, great. So this webinar is going to be delivered by Rotem. I will take over the Q&A section, so please don't hesitate to type any question when it comes to your mind. Of course, that we will address all questions, and if there will still be open questions at the end of the webinar, we promise to provide answers to the person who asked, basically, after the webinar. Of course, that the session will be recorded and delivered to you also after the meeting. And again, don't forget that Rotem is really taking care of the entire activation process of the whole partnership team globally. So he have so much experience in the aspect of becoming an active partner. So if you are new to the partnership program, or for some reason you haven't managed or succeed to generate any revenue yet, or to sell any subscription of Monday.com yet, this is actually the best place to start with, because Rotem will guide you through everything you need to be familiar with from the very first moment you have a potential client until the moment that he eventually purchased the product. So without any further ado, I will invite Rotem to take over. So please welcome Rotem Snyder, the Global Activation Manager of Monday.com. Rotem, I will maybe stop the share of the screen and I will let you reshare yourself.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for those super kind words. It's a pleasure meeting everyone today. I hope everyone's doing great. Just before we actually start, maybe I'll do a very, very short introduction and then we'll really get into the presentation itself. Oi, could you maybe stop the screen share and I will share my screen after? Fantastic. So maybe just a word about myself and then how we will divide this session up. So first of all, my name is Rotem. It's a pleasure meeting you all. I live in Tel Aviv, Israel. That where the Monday HQ is. I've been working with Monday for the past year and a half. And really my role today is what we call our global activator. So I take our new and promising partners that join the Monday channel and I support them for the first 4 months or the first 60 months of their onboarding to Monday. And it's all basically to support in their sales activation. So it's all about teaching them our best practices of what works and what does not work within what we call the Monday sales cycle. And what I've done is over that past year and a half, I've taken everything that we've learned of what to do, what not to do, what works and what does not work within every stage of the process. And we put that into a super and full of insights deck that I'm going to show you today. Now, basically how I feel like this session should really run, because we are a really big group of people, I will go part by part by the presentation, and every 5-10 slides I will maybe stop for a question or two, and Roy over here will help me and we will see questions that are relevant for everyone and we will answer them within the form of everybody. Okay, so I will share my screen. Give me a second. Let me know if you could all see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, maybe just a one small point before I begin. As you could see that in Monday, we believe in very fast sales cycles. As you could see, 28 days of rapid sales cycles. If you would compare this to many different other solutions, you would see how fast this really is. And of course, this could also be done with multiple deals at once. And we will show you how you could take these sales cycles and do them very efficiently and very quickly with your customer. So that is just a point on that. What we will be covering today is the whole sales cycle itself, everything, and we'll go very deep within the discovery and within the demo, what it looks like, templates and tools that we will give you that you could use with your customers, do's and don'ts from both of these practices. We will talk a bit about the co-sell process and how you guys can use the Monday internal salespeople to help you on deals. And if we have time left, we'll also do maybe a short exercise and a short example. Okay, this is really how we see the sales cycle. As I said, the rapid sales cycle, you see it all happens within a month, within Monday. And we're not saying it because we think that it is possible that it's in a month. This is from, dividing thousands of leads and thousands of deals. We are seeing that it is all possible to happen within 28 days. And this is what the cycle really looks like, right? And it starts from a lead, it moves on to a discovery call, then to a demonstration. We'll talk a bit about commercials and commercial techniques, and then what we call close one of the deal. Now, to break that sales cycle apart just a bit, I will talk about week by week what we do and how we overcome it, right? So a potential client on the first week, we act to this client as a lead, right? And what we believe is within that lead process, right? That lead might also be on a Monday trial. And we want that within that trial period, we will send them at least 3 emails. We recommend it to be used by an automation tool. right? So you could also do that within Monday itself or with any tool you would like, but to send them at least 3 emails. This is even our recommendations on how to do it in accordance to days with pre-built templates. And this is all for you to be able to do this in scale, right? You don't want to manually write email by email to each person. We want to do this to 20, 50, 100 people at a time. After that, let's say the week has answered, we go into the exploratory call. And these are the main points of the exploratory call that we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to dive a bit deeper into that in a couple of slides, but these are the main bullet points. After that, we go to the demonstration itself, and same as the exploratory call, right? These are what we are seeing and the main points and focus points that should happen with every demo. After that, we move into commercials, right? After the demonstration, we start talking about commercials, the amount of users we want, the feedback that they want, when do they want to start, and we will send them a quote for the pricing. And then at the end, right, if everything is done and set, we close won the deal, you guys enjoy the commission, everyone is happy. Now what I'll do, I'll start really diving into each one of the pieces. If there is any questions, maybe I'll stop for a quick question or two. If there's anything, Roy, let me know, but if not, I'll continue.
All clear.
Awesome, thanks. So let's really dive in to the discovery. And we made for you what we call the discovery checklist. And these are things that we feel and we've seen that have been most successful within discoveries done with Monday clients, okay? And I'll go over them. These are the things you want to make sure that you or do within the call or understand as part of the call. And I'll go over them one by one. One is the use case, right? It seems very simple, but at the end, we see that we really want to make sure that we understand what the client wants to achieve with a solution like Monday, okay? Number two, the current pain of the challenges of the customer, okay? Is he losing money on deals because he is not closing enough deals? Is it taking him too long to finish the project and he needs a tool to be more efficient and be more productive? We want to understand his pains and his challenges. And of course, as part of it, we want to, one, emphasize the challenges, right, and the pains, and to assure him that this could be done on top of Monday, if it could be done, of course. After that, we want to make sure that we get a deep understanding of the current workflow and how they are doing things. I think this is a very, very important point. What I don't want you to do is I don't want you to come onto discovery calls. I don't want you to ask what you came to do on Monday. You will say, I want to use Monday as a CRM, and you just move on. I want you to deep dive into the workflow. I want you to ask, okay, when a new lead comes in to your system, what is the process that that lead goes through, right? Does it come in from a contact form? Does he sign up through your email? Does he sign up through your website? Then who is the first person that interacts with this lead? After the deal is won, what happens with that lead, right? I want you to really break down the process within that call for two reasons. One, you will have a better understanding of how that person works and doesn't work, and if it is possible on Monday. And number two, it will be 10 times easier for you to, one, make sure that you're solving his pains by the use of Monday, and two, that you will be able to build the solution of his dreams within the platform, because the next call after this is basically the demonstration. Okay? Moving forward, super important to understand the current goals in his organization from two main reasons. One, Monday has a lot of great native integrations. So for example, if you knew that he was a Google house and he is now using Gmail and Google Calendar and everything else, that could be very easily integrate into Monday. So that might be a very good, point for a reason for him to start using Monday. Number two, we could also think of consolidation, right? So maybe he's using different similar tools to Monday, but now that once he starts using Monday, he will not need to use or pay for those other tools, and he could do that all in one system. The number of potential users, right? Because at the end, we need to know the size of the opportunity after this call. And I will talk about a method that we teach here within Monday. And if there is one thing that I want you to take out of this exploratory, it is this point: how to use the cross method. After that, what we call is enterprise anchors, okay? To make this point very, very simple and very, very useful to everyone on the call, I want to make sure that you guys already realize that you are able within the discovery call to point the client to the right direction, to the right plan for them, okay? And the plan that we are able to give the most support and the most value is on the enterprise plan. And to do that, already in the discovery call, we ask leading questions that will lead the lead himself to the enterprise plan, because he needs certain types of features or certain types of use of the platform itself. And I'll dive deeper into that in the next slides. And these are also the rest of the things that I want to come out of the call when I finish the discovery. I want to know when he wants to start using the platform and what is the urgency for him. I want to understand if there is a purchasing process, right? So this is more for the large organizations. If there's sometimes legal or security that needs to be involved in purchasing of a new software, especially SaaS software. And at the end, when you finish the call, and to make it 10 times easier for you to build a demonstration, always make sure that you ask for a sample of the workflow, okay? This is supposed to be very, very simple. It should be the Excel sheet, the Google Doc, anything that they are currently using to manage their work, any screenshot. Many of the times, customers sometimes mention that the information is sensitive. So I always say, listen, it is okay for you to delete. I only want to understand the process. And when you do, you take that process and you build it into the demo into the next call. And at the end, what you always finish up with every call, and you will see that I have this on every slide, is the next step in the calendar, okay? So when I finish the discovery call, I have the demo already in my calendar, okay? And why is this good? Is because then I don't need to chase after the lead until what time works for you and when could we meet again. Now you'll see that in the discovery process is very easy because the lead is really wants to see the next stage and he wants to see the demonstration, so it's really easy to schedule. But after the demo, when we want to move already to commercials, then it gets really important to schedule that next step already, because then we start chasing after the lead. And only if we will have the next step already in the calendar, it makes it 10 times faster to move forward. I spoke a lot about this slide. Maybe I will stop if there was something important that.
Yeah. Rotem, maybe I will mention one question that was asked. Does the sales cycle changes according to the different sizes of businesses?
So, of course, the question is yes. And is not really dependent on the size of the business, even though it does, because larger organizations sometimes have longer processes, right? For a small 50 people business, sometimes, you know, the person that gets on the call is a CEO and he could approve on the spot if he wants to go or no go. And from a large organization standpoint, they might have a procurement process that needs to be involved, right? They might need to have legal that might be involved in the process. And that is exactly the reason why we want to understand the purchasing process already in the discovery call, because it would be a really big shame if we move forward and we feel like this is a very, very good opportunity and is moving very, very quickly up until that we get to the signing point, and then we understand, oh, there is a legal process and an IT process that takes about 2 months. And then the deal is delayed by 2 months. So that is exactly the reason why I want us to all ask, and it doesn't need to be a long question. It should be like, is there legal or IT involved with purchasing a new software, or is it pretty straightforward in terms of the company? The lead will know to answer you yes, to answer you no, if there needs to be someone involved or not. So I think that's a great question, and I think it's important to ask, especially with big organizations where we see the time takes longer.
Great, thanks. One more question that I will not answer via the chat, coming from Ronnie. What do you promise the potential customer to join the discovery? So what will the customer get after he joins the discovery first call?
So, okay, this could be used in many different ways, but at the end, right, you guys that are leading the discoveries, you are considered from today, Monday experts, okay? You are the people where the lead wants to talk to learn more about the system, to help set them the system up, and to be able to show them a demonstration, okay? And I don't see any reason why anyone would not want to have a 15 or 20-minute call with an expert to explain to them what else is possible with Monday, could explain what would be the best fit for them to use of Monday. And if you guys would want, it is up to you to decide to show them a demonstration on top of Monday or not.
Amazing, thanks. And last question for now, coming from Stacy. How do we address the public sector, which is obviously a little bit different from the private sector?
So that's a bit of a tricky question. Actually, it all depends how that public sector works, if it works within tenders or with bids. So that's also something we could do with Monday. And I think this also will connect later on to our conversations with the co-sell process, because many of the times these public sectors are much bigger opportunities. And this is a good area where we could bring in Monday internal employees to support with that deals. And we are very, very experienced with public sectors and bigger opportunities as well.
Yeah, which, by the way, that's a great example, because Stacy and I currently working together with Monday internal sales team on an opportunity from the public sector. So this is how it usually works. Thanks, Rotem.
Amazing. Okay. Are you ready to witness the most important and helpful slide of the year? I love the add-ons, Roy. I didn't even see this, but what we actually prepared to you is a very, very simple to use script, which I'll go over with you together. And my recommendation, and I could share, I did this my own when I started with Monday. I had this script every call that I did with Monday. I adjusted it to fit exactly how I work with clients, but I had this printed right next to me to make sure that I check mark all the important questions for me on the call. And I don't forget to ask about timing, and I don't forget to ask about the amount of users, right? Every call I would mark and mark and mark until I did 10, 20 calls and I knew it by heart. So that would really, really be a recommendation for you all. But just to start and to go through the process and how we really see the flow of the call within Monday, just to share maybe some statistics that we're seeing. A discovery call is a discussion, right? We want to make sure that the discussion is between you and the other person. The amount of talking should be pretty much 40, 60, 50, 50 between both people. It shouldn't only be you explaining about money, and it shouldn't only be about him explaining about his workflow. You should be asking questions, you should be giving answers, and should be a discussion. The way that we see the flow, okay, and I'll go over it step by step. So one, it is all about the conversation starter, right? Tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me a bit about what you're trying to achieve with Monday. What did you come here to see, right? And then he would share, oh, I'm from company this and that, and I'm the VP of sales, and I'm interested in a CRM use case. Okay, fantastic. I'm happy to see that you came to us. I could share that, one of our most successful products is the Monday CRM, and it is used for over 100,000 companies worldwide. So I feel like you've gotten to the right place. Okay, thanks for sharing. I definitely think that Monday could help you. How are you currently doing that? Okay, so you want to understand a bit about the tools, a bit about the ecosystem, a bit about the processes that is he currently doing. After that, we have a good understanding about the tools and the use case. We start digging a bit deeper into the challenges and pains, and to be very correct about it, right? You don't want to ask a person what are his day-to-day challenges. You are saying what is lacking for you in the current use case, or what is bringing you to look for another solution, okay? And I think it is very important to, after he mentions his challenges and mentions his pains, to emphasize on that, right? If he says, yes, we're using Google Sheets and information is being deleted without us knowing, and I would mention, wow, that is so frustrating that you're missing information. I will show you within Monday how we could have very rigid permissions for each person within the platform, right? You want to emphasize, you want to assure that we could solve his challenge. After that, we go into a deeper dive of the workflow itself. And what does that look like? It looks like you would say, okay, you mentioned you're responsible for the sales team. Could you please run me through your process? How does the lead come in? Who needs to be notified when a new leads come in? And who needs to continue the sales cycle to turn this lead into opportunity? And then how does it move past the opportunity to the account management team, right? It really helps you know the inputs and the outputs of the whole process and gives us a better understanding of the flow itself. After that, we go into the scoping and the size of the opportunity, because at the end, one of the most things that I try and work on with my partners is, if you come out of a call and you don't know the size of the opportunity, then you don't know what you are working towards, right? You don't know the size, you don't know the scope, you don't know the opportunity. So, and I will show you a method how to do this, but after he mentions the amount of teams, right? In addition to team X, what departments do you collaborate with the most? And this is just a question to show how we could even scale opportunities further, right? Because I'm going a bit out of the team that the person came here for, and I'm asking who are the teams that he works with. And then instead of just saying, oh, it's only me, the sales team of 10 people, you might say, oh, there's the finance team that's working with me, and there's the legal team that sometimes works on opportunities with me as well. And that's how we grow the opportunity too much further. Questions around timing, right? Is there a reason why you're looking to solve this now? You know, if Monday would be the right fit, when would you like to start using it? And then for decision-making process, right? You don't ask who the decision maker is. You're asking, assuming that everything goes well. What does the decision-making process look like at your end? Who else is a part of the evaluation process in your organization, and so on. But that is a very basic flow of the exploratory call itself. Moving forward, I want to talk about two main pillars in discoveries. One is the enterprise anchors, and one is how we create bigger opportunities using the cross model. I'll start with the cross model. And the cross model is very, very simple questions that we ask during the exploratory to make the opportunity bigger. So what we do is we ask horizontally, right? Every organization process has an input and output horizontally between teams. And then we ask questions vertically, right? Because we always have someone that we report to and report from. And what we do, or what we don't do actually in the cross model, is we don't ask the client how many users you want to onboard, okay? This is what I always tell to partners: do not ever ask the amount of people, the amount of users, or the amount of licenses, because if I take you to the other side of the call, to the lead itself, if you ask the amount of users or licenses, he's automatically thinking every license cost me money, right? Every license is a person. I want to keep this as small as possible, right? So let's avoid asking that, okay? And the other thing I want us to avoid is to avoid limiting the conversation to only the client's use case, right? So it's understanding the overall use case, the overall process in the organization, and not only sticking to CRM or marketing, because there might be PMO that's interesting, there might be HR that's interesting, right? There might be many different other use cases that might be interesting for the lead itself. How do we actually do this? First of all, we ask questions horizontally, right? What are the inputs and outputs of the process? Exactly like you explained with the lead or with any other process, right? If it was a project, how does the ideation of a project starts? Who does the approval for the project? Okay, once the project is approved, who are the people that are started with the planning of the project? Okay, once you finish with the planning, who are the people that manage the project itself, right? How does the project delivery go to the customer? You really want to break it down as much as you can and try within that process to understand who are the teams that work together to complete that process, right? And this is what we do horizontally across the organization. Then we want to understand vertically who is a part of this, okay? Is your team reporting to higher management on a regular basis? Yes. Are you interested in real-time data to report to managers? Yes. Right? And then we also went across, also went top to bottom. And then instead of asking the amount of users, right, you validate the total number of people, right? How many people would you like to collaborate together within Monday.com? And I'll show you an example at the end that people that instead of saying 10, then say 60, then say 100, because you start saying, oh, I need the creative team part of this. Oh, I need the design team part of this. Oh, I need the contact team as part of this process as well, right? Because at the end, we want to explain that Monday is a tool for collaboration. And if you only take one part of that process within Monday, you're just creating a silo for that team from the other teams. And you want to make it possible for everyone to collaborate together in the same solution. Okay. Now the other part, which is talking a bit about enterprise anchors. And the idea here is not really to make everyone here remember every single feature that is in Monday or that isn't. The overall idea is to help you gear the conversations towards the desired plans that you want at a very, very early stage. Okay, and to give a couple of examples how we do this exactly for the enterprise plan, we ask very specific questions within the discovery that if the prospect answers yes to them, later on in the demo, I will be able to show him these abilities. And later on in the commercial discussions, when he's debating going between the basic plan, the standard plan, and the enterprise plan, you could mention, listen, you answered yes to this question, and I showed you that question on the demonstration. You really wanted to make sure that these are all possible in your plan. So it only makes sense that the right plan for you is enterprise or pro or whatever that plan is, right? So you don't need to remember the features. It's just to help you understand from the start how you could position the right plan better. And these are examples that I ask in my discovery calls to help make sure that I go or that the client goes with the enterprise plan at the end, okay? Permission questions, because permissions is an enterprise feature. So I asked, do you want to make sure that everyone is able to see, as everyone to edit all the information on Monday? Do you want people to be able to export your information in Excel? And if the answer of that is I don't want people to edit information in Excel, and I want to be able to manually decide who is able to view what and to use what, then that is an enterprise feature. How much of the work do you want to be done by automations? There are different capacities and different plans. The enterprise has the highest capacity. So if you want the highest capacity of automations, again, an enterprise feature. Are you using any Active Directory? Do you log on with an SSO? Anything around security features is geared to enterprise as well. Now, just to sum up the first part of the exploratory call, I want to give you a live example that happened earlier this year of how we grew a case from 10 users to 60 users on enterprise. And just to share the story very, very shortly, the prospect wanted 10 users for his marketing team. And when we started doing the cross method, we understand that one, those 10 people are part of the acquisition team. From the workflow investigation, we learned that they also work with the content and design team. They approve their budget with the campaign head and the head of marketing and the finance team. There's some more people. And then they need to share the progress with their campaign with dashboards with other marketing team leads. And each of that team leads has 10 people under them. So the lead coming with 10 users, but at the end, he bought 60 enterprise. And this is a real use case. So we know that the process on the cross model definitely helps to expand opportunities larger. I'll stop maybe if there's any questions before I move on to the demo section.
Yeah, great. Rotem, a question coming from Vahid. If there is a suggesting for prioritizing the dues, for example, starting from departments, or I believe he refers to the cross model.
So how I usually do the cross model, right? And it doesn't have to be that long. It is very simple question. So I would usually just start by asking, who are the teams that collaborate together on the process that you mentioned, right? Because he mentioned the workflow process before. So who are the teams that collaborate together on this? And then you say, okay, there's the sales team and there's the IT team. Okay, is there any other team that collaborate depending on the inputs and outputs that he gave? And then I say, okay, so I understood there's the sales team, the finance team, the IT team. Now, how about higher management? Is there anyone that would like to see real-time reporting on top of Monday? And he would say, yes, there's the head of marketing, head of VP. And then I would finish it up and say, okay, so we mentioned the sales team, we managed the IT team, we managed the finance team, we managed 5 heads of departments, all of those teams and people together. How many people would you like to collaborate on a system? And then you would say the number, right? And we would validate the number. So then there would come out to be 50 people that need access to Monday. Any other questions?
Maybe last question is, how do we approach selling to more users when the client wants to start small, exactly like in the example you shared, with their marketing team in that instance, and then consider adding other users later on?
Mm-hmm. So there's a couple of ways to do that. One, I think the cross model is very, very good to expand opportunities further. Two, if you also think that there is a good potential in bringing a Monday internal employee into the process, but this would be an example if, let's say, you have an opportunity that they want to start with, I don't know, let's say 30 users, but you know that with the right techniques, we could expand this to 100 users. Then later on, I will share with you something that is, for example, called the POC model, right? And what is the POC model? A POC model is where we give the client, for example, a month to try out Monday, meaning he signs the contract, but the first 30 days of his contract, he is able to opt out, okay? He is able to decide within the first 30 days that he is not happy with the system after 30 days and he wants to cancel his contract and cancel his payment, and then he only pays for the first month, and the rest of the 11 months of the contract, we take him out of it and he does not need to pay for it, okay? And what does this do? This gives the customer the opportunity to decide to sign on or to start with a much larger group, because he knows that at the end, if he does not want to start with that amount of people, he could opt out of the contract itself and only continue with the amount of people that he wants. What we know is that around 95% of the customers that start with the opt-out clause of the POC continue within that POC after the contract, okay? And it is a way of us to say to the client, we are so sure of our platform that could help you and could do what it says it does, that we are willing to take the risk on us that after 30 days, you will decide to exit the contract and not start with 50 people, but start with 5 people, okay? That is basically what we're saying to the customers, and that is a way to use it with what we call the POC model.
Amazing. Thanks for that. Great. So we'll take 2 more questions.
Sure.
A question coming from Rani again. Can you do this discovery call also with cold leads who came from Google search and looking for project management, etc., or landing on your landing page and going through your funnel? Or do you advise only clients you know well?
So definitely not only the clients you know well. And I would just structure the discovery call a bit different, okay? Because first, I would try and maybe give more explanation about what Monday is, because at the end, this person was only interested to jump on a call with you, not intentionally in using Monday. You might not even know what Monday is or how Monday works. So I think the structure of the call needs to be a bit of a more investigation of what are the challenges within his organization today. How are those challenges solved within Monday? More explanation of what Monday could do for him. Right, in a regular exploratory, I might say don't use a deck, but if it's more of an outbound of a cold lead, I might say yes, use a slide deck, maybe explain a bit more about Monday, a bit more about what Monday could do, maybe examples of different organizations that Monday has helped that are similar to him, that have the same challenges as him, and then he would be more interested to continue the process with you.
Amazing. Thanks for that. And maybe let's take one last one. When a client already have some amount of users and they need to increase, what is the best way to show them the ROI of the investment?
Great. So we have a whole process that talks about expanding paying accounts. Now, it is a very different process because at the end, when a new customer comes, when he comes to a first call and he does not have Monday, he is doing at the end, he is evaluating, right? He's evaluating if Monday is the right fit to him. When we come to a paying customer, he already starts using Monday. He already, I guess, he likes using Monday, and now it's about if he would like to use Monday more. And the way that we do that is we show value to the customers on features he hasn't using, use cases that he hasn't using, right? Bringing in more departments to Monday, expanding the process to other teams that aren't currently involved in the process. And by doing that, we're showing more value to the customer, and customers that see more value or are introduced to new features that they aren't currently using tend to usually expand, usually want to use new products that they were familiar with, maybe enterprise features that they weren't aware of. And that is how we usually expand the accounts.
Amazing. Thanks, Rodem. No more questions at the moment.
Okay. Also, what I put together here are from the work that I have done with partners around the world, a couple of bad habits that I want to make sure that you guys from the start already avoid. Okay. And I'll go over them very, very quickly. One, I see partners that at the beginning do not stick to the script, right? And I'm telling you, I really recommend taking the script, adjusting it to what you feel needs to be on it to make sure that it checks all the boxes, and make sure that you go over it, because at the end, when you come out of the call and you understand, oh, I didn't ask about the decision-making process, or, oh, I didn't ask about the timeline, or I'm missing the amount of users, it's going to be hard for you to continue the process without the missing of those very important pieces of the discovery call. Number two, no deep understanding of the workflow. Now, what does this cause? If the client comes and says, I want a CRM, and you're like, okay, I know what he needs. In the demo, you show him a CRM, it most of the times will not be a fit. And to avoid that, what we do is, one, get a much deeper understanding of the workflow. What are the inputs? What are the outputs? What is the process in his organization? And number two, to make sure that you ask for the workflow sample at the end, because then you will know the names of the columns that he uses, the names of the people that you could add into people within the organization. So it's going to really, really help you with the process itself. Another very important part is, although we are saying that this is a fast sales cycle, don't feel that it is not okay to set up a second discovery if needed. If this is a very large opportunity, you might need a whole other half an hour just to discuss what he thinks or what are the requirements for Monday. Because if you move too fast, it is easier, right? If it's too fast to move forward, it might be easy for the client to say, you know, this actually is not a fit for me. Okay. So I would feel very comfortable in larger opportunities, even setting up another call before the demo to have a better understanding of the workflow and the processes. As fast as possible is not a timeline. Many of the time I get this answer when I go in discoveries and I ask, when would you like to start to use the platform? And they say as fast as possible. I never take that answer, right? I always want to try and connect it to a compelling event, because when you move as fast as possible and then you send over the SO, then at the end, it does not become as fast as possible, right? Then he needs to think, then he wants to decide, then he wants to evaluate. So what I try to do is I try to connect some sort of compelling event within the organization to the timeline of the start. Is the end of financial planning starting at a certain time? Are you the end of the contract with your certain subscription? When does that end, right? Is a very new big project going to start in the next month, and you want to start that with Monday? When you connect everything to a compelling event, it will be very, very easy for you to hold the lead accountable to that timeline and to move forward with the deal and what you agreed on together. Don't send the call summary. I think it is very important to send a call summary at the end, and we will share templates on this call for you to send after a discovery, after a demo that you could all use. Don't be blinded by logos. It's something that has been happened with Monday many, many times. We saw a very, very large organization that signed up to Monday, and we thought, wow, we are all going to be millionaires. But at the end, it turns out to be a very small team of 3 people that are just using Monday for personal use. Okay, so no matter the size of the logo, always go through the qualification questions. Mentioning the enterprise plan to small companies, I would be aware, right? Maybe the customer says he needs permissions, which is an enterprise feature. Maybe the client says that he wants to have unlimited automations, but he's a 50 people organization. And once you mention the word enterprise, that sometimes might scare him. So use it smartly. You don't have to say enterprise. You could say the advanced plan. You could say the premium plan. Okay. So that's just example. I'm moving a bit quicker because I want to go over everything and we don't have a lot of time. These are the resources which we will share with everyone at the end that you could use for email templates, the discovery call checklist, after call meeting summaries. Moving on to the demonstration itself and the checklist that we made for you. So no matter the use case, right? No matter the client, no matter what he wants to see, I make sure I always show this, right? No matter if I'm showing a CRM use case or a PMO use case or a marketing use case, I always work in the same type of flow. And then it is easy for me also to do multiple different types of use cases. The only thing that I change is no matter if I show the life cycle of a lead within the CRM, right? The life cycle of the creative production in the marketing tool, or the life cycle of a project, I always make sure that I show an intro to Monday. I show how I use automations and notifications. I show how I use the form view. I show how I connect boards together. I show how I connect dashboards. I show how I show enterprise features that will help you in the sale. And like I said, I always make sure that I set the next step within the calendar to continue the commercial discussion after the demonstration. And now just to break everything up bit by bit. So first, when I start every demonstration, I do 2 things. One, I give a very high level agenda of everything I want to talk about today, right? Today, I will talk a bit about the Monday Work OS. I'll give you a quick intro to a Monday board and how you use it. Then I will jump into our project management use case. I will show you how we create the ideation of a project. I will show you how we build automations and notifications on the project lifecycle. I will show you how we connect these projects to portfolio view and dashboards. And then I will finish up and give a short summary, and we could talk about the potential next steps, right? I give an agenda, then I start with an intro on top of Monday. Monday is a work operating system. It is a no-code, low-code platform. You could run, manage, and organize everything in one place, right? I give a very basic overview. What we're looking at is a workspace, what we're looking at as a board, okay? After that, I always start with the basics. Why do I feel that this is important? I'll give you a real thing that many of times happened to me. When I see that I skip the intro to the board view, right? And the intro to a board view is a very short explanation of a board. A board is a dynamic environment and where you could manage every aspect of your business. This is what an item looks like. This is what a group looks like. This is what a column looks like. When I skip this part, I understand that when I go deeper within the workflow, people ask me very, very basic questions, right? And then I'm scared that I am sharing too much information to the customer and he's not able to understand the workflow within Monday. So I always start from small and I start from a basic board and the basic board building blocks. And only then do I go to a much more advanced use case. Now the do's on the demo, which I think are very, very important. One, when you have a demo, you want to make sure that the decision makers are present on the demo, okay? Because think of at the end what will happen if you give the demonstration to one of the team members instead of the team lead or the manager. What that person is going to need to do, he is going to need to take the information that you shared with him, and he will be the one that needs to share it to his manager. And believe me when I say this, he is not going to do it anywhere close as good as you are going to do it. So it is much better for you to have the decision maker on the call, right? To speak to him, to show him how you solve the challenges within Monday, and not do it to, the person that is on the team, even if in case it means that you need to delay the demo a bit to make sure that the decision maker is there. It is in your benefit to do so. I usually open my demonstrations with a deck. And what do I put in that deck? A bit about myself, a bit about Monday. But what I do is I take 2-3 challenges that I understood from the discovery call, and I put a very big slide and I say, this is my understanding of your needs. This is what I took from the last conversation with us together. You mentioned that you have a problem collaborating. You mentioned that you have a problem in understanding the project progress, right? I listened to you and I put it on the slide, and now I'm going to show you what it looks like within Monday. Okay, so I start every demo with that. Then in the demo, no matter the amount of use cases that I have, no matter if I have 5,000 people with 300 use cases a Monday, I always decide to focus on or 1 or 2 use cases, and I always show a use case from A to Z. Okay, and if needed, I would prefer to split up to 3 or 4 demos, but to show every use case and every use case A to Z, because when you start mixing up a project management use case and a CRM use case and a document flow use case and a creative production use case, the client from the other side gets very, very confused, and he can't see the process from the beginning to end. So sometimes what I do is if I have 5 different use cases that they are interested within Monday, I say, listen, guys, I'm going to focus on use case 1 and use case 4. I will show you them A to Z. For use cases 2, 3, and 5, you will take my word for it that it is possible, okay? And I'm going to show you only these processes from the beginning to end, and the rest, you can believe me that they work on top of Monday. Okay, and this will save you time, and you don't need to show so many things on the demonstration. Or if needed, to have a second demo. Don't try and cram everything up to one hour demonstration. Active automations to work while you're demoing the workflow. Okay, at the end, this is the magic of Monday. When you fill out the form on the go, when you push an automation on the go, this is what people are really like, wow, okay? These are your wow factors as part of the demonstration. I think it's very, very important to do so. Make sure you write an update in the bubble chat. Tag everyone on the board. Tag everyone in the item, right? Show how it shows in the notification center. Build item level permissions if possible, okay? This is a cool little feature that only if you're assigned to a certain column, you're able to see the information on that item. Showcase multiple boards for collaboration between boards, right? Show how I am the sales team and I collaborate together with the legal team, right? And I don't need to send back and forth emails between both of us. We are collaborating together on Monday. Present informable dashboards, very important. Open the admin section to show account matrix. These are the do's. Now for the don'ts. Okay, do not do a 10-minute intro without any action. Okay, we tend to see that people have a very, very small amount of, let's say, attention span, right? If you start talking for 10 minutes without showing anything on the platform, people are going to start using their phones, they're going to start answering emails, they're going to be doing other things, and you are going to lose them. So you want to do everything, and you want to do everything with an action within the demonstration itself. Don't lecture, okay? This is not a webinar. You need to make sure that people are engaged and you get feedback through the demo, okay? You want to see if they want to see more. And just to give you examples of how I do this in demonstration, if I show the form view, right? It's a type of view that you can see in Monday that acts as a dynamic form. After I fill out the form and I do it all live as part of the process, I would ask, is this way of capturing ideas, capturing leads through the form, does this look like something that would be well implemented within your process of the leads? And they would say yes, they would say no, but at the end, what I'm doing, I'm trying to look for some engagement. After I show the automations, do you think using these automations will save time and cutting down emails within your process? And what you want to do is you want to get all these little approvals along the way. Good. Don't present features or column types or add-ons. You want to present full workflows, right? You want to show the business value behind the feature. And I'll give you a couple of examples. If I show the people column, I do not say this is the people column. I say, listen, this is how I create accountability to this specific item, right? This person is accountable. Anything that happens, and he will be aware of. This isn't the status column. No, this is how I show how this item is in the process of this 50 million 3-year project, right? It shows me where it is in the process. I do not want to talk features. I want to talk business value that the features give me. Don't compare Pro to Enterprise. This doesn't always work, right? When customers start to go feature by feature, it's very hard to convince why to go to Enterprise. I explain it more of a solution-wide platform, a better platform, which is the Enterprise plan. Don't continue the demo if a client asks a question. I see this happen multiple times. You can't just dismiss people. You need to stop. You need to acknowledge. And if you feel like you do not want to answer, it is okay, right? You could just answer, is this and that possible? You could say yes. You could say no. You could say, I don't know. I need to get back to you. But you do not want just to ignore the person on the other side. Finishing the demo, and then maybe I'll stop for a couple of questions, right? And there's a certain way we think that it's good to finish the demo, because at the demo at the end, we showed a lot of value in how you use Monday. But there's a very gentle way in how we steer the conversation after the demo back into commercials and making sure that we push this forward to the next steps. So one is getting the overall feedback, right? I give a short summary at the end, but then I want to make sure that if everything that I presented to you today, does it enhance your workflow? Does it help you solve the challenges that you came for faster? You want to get feedback at the end, right? So I always make sure that I leave around 5 to 10 minutes at the end of every demo. I don't want to finish at the last minute and then everyone has to go. I want to make sure that I have another 10 minutes to get feedback, maybe ask some more questions. Maybe there's something that they didn't see that they are still interested in seeing and we missed. And it gives me time to take a minute or two to go over to the commercial side. When I talk about pricing, I make sure that I do it in confidence. The enterprise plan is $44 or euros per person per month, okay? When I say that, I don't say it's $44 per month, but I could give you a 10% discount. I say it's $44 per month, and I wait for 2 seconds, right? Because only if you show confidence, that is the way you will be able to sell Monday, and to sell Monday at the correct price. At the end of the demo, I always do another validation of users, okay? To make sure, one, maybe he's seen something that we haven't seen. Maybe instead of 50 people, he wants to have 100 people, or the other way around. Maybe he said he will start with 50, but now he's crunching the numbers together and he understands that maybe he only wants 20 people. So it's very important to do a validation. After we do a validation of the users, we understand the timeline and the procurement process again. So from our last call, you were going to start using Monday by the end of the month. Is that still the case? Do you want to do it sooner? Do you want to do it after? You want to make sure. And as always, making sure that we set the next step within the calendar. Okay, and not to forget to send the meeting summary. Questions?
Actually, Rotem, at the moment there are no open questions, so I believe we can move forward. And if there will be some, they will be written down in the chat, and I'll address them as well.
Amazing. Moving a bit to another process, right? Ways to stretching the opportunity size and to close bigger. I want to introduce everyone here to our co-selling process, okay? Some very major advantages that we have when using co-sell. One, just to make sure that you are all aware, you will still get the 100% of the commission that you are supposed to get in any other sale. So this doesn't deduct anything from the sale itself. Two, from the statistics that we've made from co-sales from different referral partners, we've seen that the win rate with the co-sell has grown by 90%, okay? So you have a much higher chance in winning a deal if you do it within a co-sell. Three, it is also a great way to maximize the deal size. Now, to do so, you will enter a general request form with the request for a co-sell. The way to do it is you would choose sales assistance. You will elaborate as much as you can on the use case, on the discovery call, on the workflow, and the amount of users that this person wants. You will have a sync with the Monday internal sales representative, and he will help you win the deal at the end. Or any comments over here on the co-sell? Anything you would like to add?
Yeah, basically you nailed it. You mentioned all the important points. At the end of the day, remember that it's 100% pure profit. There are no any downsides or cons here. You basically get the assistance of a very well-trained and experienced sales representative on behalf of Monday, right? With a unique expertise and very in-depth understanding of the market needs, right? We also assign you a specific sales rep regarding the specific use case and region. Usually we utilize native speaking sales reps to help jump on calls in specific regions where there is a language gap. So again, we do encourage all of you to do that. And remember that the only requirement is that the potential deal would be at least with 15 or 20 users and more, of course. And of course, that deals with opportunity to grow and potentially, and it would be best if they are interested in the enterprise plan from the very first step. That's it.
Fantastic. Moving on to closing and commercials and a couple of tips over there. You guys will all be able to send your UTM link and send trials to potential customers, right? A very important point is not to cheapen the trial. You have the ability within that form to request if you want to make the trial longer. I recommend not to extending the trial at a month, right? To do it a week at a time. At the end of each week, communicate with the lead itself and have a meeting. Did he see what he needs to see? Does he want to move on to the next step? Does he want another week? Okay, grant another week and meet after that week was extended, because we see that if you grant the trial to a month-long period, at the end, the other side does not use Monday for a month. He uses it for 2-3 days and then lets it go. Make sure you provide value, and then make sure that you let the other side know that it is paid value, right? And this is the questions that you ask in the discovery call, and these are the features that you are showing within the demo itself. Timeline, make sure you create a timeline for the deal, and this is connecting to what I mentioned about connecting everything to compelling events. Monday is important to state, it works in brackets of users, right? You can't have, 27 people. It works from brackets of 5 and then 10 and then 25, and work with those limitations for you, right? If you want to upgrade from, let's say, 100 users, maybe the next jump up is only 125 or 150. Everything works within brackets. when you always send an offer, always send it with an expiration date, okay? This offer is valid until April 30th, until whatever, 11 p.m., okay? And when this offer validation is over, the price goes up to list price or whatever other you would want to mention, just to make sure that everything has timing for it. Create a source of urgency around pricing and resources, right? Goes back to the expiration date. If you're giving a 5-10% discount, make sure that it comes with a sense of urgency and an expiration date. Stick to compelling events is what we spoke about. Don't be shy of pricing. We spoke about that as well. You lead the deal, not the other way around, right? You decide on when the next call is. You decide when this offer is over by. You do not want to be led. You want to be leading the deal yourself. Great. Moving forward, if there was questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Dora and I addressing the questions. One question may be coming from Vahid again, Rotem, regarding timeline. He usually makes a Monday board in their account. Is there a best way or any other suggestions on it?
Timeline for what?
Closing the deal, I presume.
So I'm hoping I'm answering the right question, but there's as many ways to do this. What I could relate to what you're saying and the timeline for the deal. With some customers, and mainly the bigger customers, what we do is we create a close plan on Monday. And this is really a board and where we have the timeline to close the deal. And we see how we collaborate together all the different functions within the organization on a mutual close plan to start using Monday. And if we need to, do something with legal and do something with IT and introduce 3 use cases, when do we do this? When do we do this by? Who do we meet? And if we mark everything is done, then we will all continue in purchasing Monday. So if that was the question and what was mentioned, that is sometimes a method that we use that we call the close plan with different opportunities and deals.
Okay, great, Rotem. We can move forward.
Cool. Okay, I want to add maybe a short exercise with the time that we have left. Because we're a very, very big group, I think that it would best that everyone answer in the chat itself. And the question over here is basically, you finished a discovery call with a nice prospect called Mary. Here's a summary of what she shared, right? She's a VP HR looking for recruiting and onboarding tool. Her team includes 20 who are HRBP recruiters, and they will all need access. She is looking to replace a monthly subscription for ClickUp since she is not happy with it. It's inflexible and automations are limited. I'm asking everyone here, what information is she missing to move forward with this deal? Feel free to answer in the chat.
Also, if you want to speak, you can raise your hand and I will allow you to open your microphone.
No takers, I'm assuming?
So we have here coming from Ido, the urgency is missing. Todd is mentioned that the decision-making process is missing. Workflow description coming from Hugo. Ronnie says that she's missing who is she working with, other teams after the person is starting working.
So first of all, I see that you guys have been listening. Makes me very, very happy. You are all correct, right? I was actually referring here to the procurement process that was also missing within what they discussed today, right? We don't know if legal or IT need to be involved of anything of assigning of a new software, but great. The other thing is I want you to say, if I want you to mark, if this is a do or don't in the discovery call. And I'll mention 3 different things, okay? So 1, thanks for defining the process. How many people will that process include? Please answer if it's a do or a don't. Number 2, great, you need permissions. Our enterprise plan has that. Do or don't? Can everyone see and access all information on the account? Do or don't? Please fill in. We'll give it another minute. Okay, so the first one was a do, the second one was a don't, and the third one was a do. Okay, I did not ask how many users or licenses. I do not want to mention that it is called the enterprise plan, right? Because then I get into a conversation about which plan and what about the pro plan, and questions around permissions are great. That was actually everything that I had scheduled for today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If there's anything that you would like to ask or that I might have forgotten that you would like to go over, I will be more than happy to leave these 2 minutes at the end to go over and to answer anything. We will share the resources that we mentioned during the call for you to use in future calls. So be sure that we will share them afterwards.
Amazing. If there are any questions, feel free to raise your hands. This is the time. I'll allow you to speak with Rotem. And again, thanks all for joining. This has been super beneficial and useful also for future cases. So of course that the webinar's recording will be shared with you tomorrow, as well as with 4 bullet points of a useful checklist and requirements and best practices, as well as an entire board with so many email templates that I will maybe share now to show you a little bit what we've prepared for you. So just like to give you a sneak peek to one of the most useful boards I believe you will be facing during this year. So here you have basically the discovery call checklist, the discovery call script, meeting summary email template, and here so many cadences, right? With multiple emails and steps for different use cases or case studies like marketing with a specific example, PMO example, right? And then PMO general, outbound cadence, contact sales, which is less relevant. And of course that we have the PMO. So I encourage you all tomorrow, whenever I send the email with the meeting recording and the entire resources, to go and explore them. And of course that as always, we're always here to hear your feedback and your questions if you have any. So also the feedback form regarding this webinar will be sent tomorrow in the summarizing email. And that's it. Thank you so much, Rotem, for hosting this amazing webinar. It's always a pleasure to hearing from the really best in town in terms of Monday partners activation and even more. So thanks for sharing all of that knowledge, information, and best practices, and see you in the next webinar. Bye-bye.
It's amazing. Bye, guys.
Thanks.